Health Education Lecture Series. All the listeners of Health Education Lecture Series, I'm your host Gurdeep Singh Sandhu, homeopathic consultant, and my clinic address is 9701 Sarah N. Court, Dublin, California 94568. Phone number 408 687 1899. Before starting my today's lecture, I would like to just convey this message to all of the listeners that at this time the economy of America is in a very bad shape because of reshuffling and because of high interest rates. And nothing is going on in progress. Everything has stand still, even declining. Not stand still, even declining. Most of the things are declining at this time. I don't know how long it will take to re-establish the things, but this is the first time in my 30 years of American residency, and never it had happened. I don't know what will happen, what will be the fate of all these things, but this is the condition at this time of America. Uh, that because of the uh, migration, excess migration, out of control migrations, it has happened, and a load, especially in California. I can say that, especially in California, a big load has been put on the residents of the American, those who are citizens and paying regular taxes on in these states. They are depressed, and here, because of this trend in the uh, Trump's administrations, they want to reshuffle. They want to reshuffle the conditions and to bring it to the previous status. Uh, that all those are criminals should be sent out. All those are illegals in this country. They should be sent out, because whenever you go into any country, and if they need it, if they need you, they will welcome you. But when or you go over there and unwanted, you are not required anymore. Ultimately, not only required anymore, but you are putting pressure on the economy over there. Definitely, every country will do the same thing. Just like now, you can see in India, because of some criminals, but even then, some of the economy issues and social issues in Punjab, especially, and you are seeing that the bhaiyas, the persons of the UP and Bihar, they are being sent out of the states. It's because that the rights of the local peoples has been snatched, and they are depressed about that one. It's a normal phenomena. It happens that when you go in any home and you are not welcomed, you are unwanted guest over there, definitely this thing will happen. Or moreover, you are snatching the rights of the local peoples, definitely it will happen everywhere. It has already happened in Maharashtra and Himachal and many other states, that the unwanted peoples were shunted out from the states. And the same thing is going on in Australia at this time, and same thing perhaps in various other countries. Just England, it's also going on in many of the countries. This is going on for the illegal peoples. First of all, the criminals, then the illegal peoples, and ultimately, I don't know how long it will take until that, till that everybody is using their own means to the minimum quantity, because their sources of income has declined, and their expenses, overhead expenses, they are trying to control those things. Wherever, whichever it's possible, they are trying to control their expenses as far as possible. And that is why the economy of the America at this time is declining, in a declining phase. How long it will take, I don't know. But that, because of these conditions, I am here since 30 years. My family is here since about 28, 29 years. And we are adding to the communities by different businesses. We are paying heavy taxes in California for all the businesses, for all the work we do, each and everything. Since morning, if you learn this thing, since morning, you start buying the things and you start paying the taxes. And it end up when you go to sleep. In the morning, you take tea, you bring sugar cane, you bring milk, everything, whatever you start the beginning of your day till end you go to sleep, you have to buy and you have to pay the taxes. And these heavy taxes were put on the permanent residents over here because of the unwanted immigrants. And because of those unwanted immigrants, a big pressure was put on. Previously, I can just tell you, the people who are listening these lectures, uh, the interest rate of my home, just I can tell you, the interest of rent of my home mortgage was 2.26%. Not three even, not 3% interest rates of the loans we are borrowing from the banks for buying a home. And here, at this time, the interest rate for the homes, even because homes, they are not paying you, they are not giving anything to you. Just like you buy a business, yes, business give you something, and you have to pay from the incomes, whereas the home has no income. But even then, the interest rates for the homes has gone up to 9.5. You can well imagine how the peoples can manage. And this is what happened because of the unwanted immigrants over here. And it not only this thing, that they are putting pressure on the permanent residents. The condition is that uh, just like you might have heard about the 9/11 incidences. At that time, the twin towers were broken down. And the same way, anything, there are many more incidences in the America and different states had happened because of the terrorists. And they are scared. They are afraid of these things. They may not happen, because if the peoples will come by getting visas, and the scrutiny of their behavior, of their social setups, and everything is taken over there in the different countries. And when it is approved, they are given allotted visa and they come to the Americas. And moreover, those peoples who were required here, deficiency of those educated peoples, learned persons, yes, they were welcome at that time. But nowadays, the peoples, those who do not know English even, that's the basic thing. When you go in any country, and if you do not know the basic language of the national language of that country, then it's very difficult to survive over there. It is very difficult to survive over there. In this way, the same thing they have now applied, which was previously but was not regulated in a systematic way, that the language, they do not know the language, because illegal migrations were just like you are going to the Vaisakhi Mela in this way. And those peoples, nobody can judge that they are criminal minded or they are just came for the income purposes. Yes, everybody has a right to migrate for the better life, for the better status of lives. Yes, it's their right. But on the other side, this is the right of the host, that whether you are required or not, whether they need you or not. And if they do not need you automatically, and you are putting extra burden on that, and even the danger, extra burden is one thing. Yes, most of the things are, first of all, they make a law that whosoever will sponsor anybody will be responsible for his any mistakes in the country, or even for his health concerns. If he falls sick, and there are expenses of his hospital and all those things, then the responsible party who sponsored him will be responsible up to $10,000. And if any person employs an illegal person, will be put in jail for 6 months, and also there are fines as well. So that rule was not regulated, and all the non-immigrant peoples, illegal migrations entered through the, especially from the Mexico borders. Mexico peoples were coming because it's adjoining country. Mexico peoples were coming in this country, uh, just like for the farmer working thing, just like the Bhaiya peoples are coming in Punjab just for the sake of farming, and they were helping in the farming sectors, and also for the shop and the factories wherever they are required, and they were working over there, and ultimately they were going back. They were not having their permanent resident over there. They were going back. And the same way, Mexican peoples are coming into the USA, and there was no any special binding, special checkup for those peoples, and because they were going back after the cultivation is done, after the harvesting is done in the farming sectors, and they go back. But nowadays, most of them, they stay permanently, and ultimately they get residence here. When they get a residency here, they call their families, they live over there many years. Many of these, just like the California state, it was a state of the Mexico, and they bought it from Mexico long back, and they were coming regularly over there and even going back as well. But at this time, migration illegal, basically, I can say the illegal. They were not invited. Illegal migration, just like H1B visa and all those different kind of visas America grants to those people. They need them. Computer industry, medical industries, or many other industries, they need people, highly educated peoples, and they give them good salaries and facilities over here, and they are invited, they are given a visa over there, and ultimately with their behaviors of 1 year, 2 years, like that, whatever the conditions are of the H1B visa, they are passing that criteria, and then they are given a residency over there, green card, you can say, and ultimately they become, after the green card, they become the citizen over here. But at this time, it has been overcrowded, and it is very difficult for the means, for the administration of these different states, border states, especially different states, border states of the country, that they can manage them, that they can feed them, or in other words, they were putting high taxes on the community, on the residents and the citizen of the America, citizen of those states where this is illegal migration has come up. And ultimately in these conditions, the residents or the citizen of this America are suffering, and interest rates have been raised, prices of each and every goods, every utilities has been increased, because they are most used, they are regularly used, we need every day for those services, and all those services has been increased, and it has tighten the neck of the already people over there. Limited, adjustable migration is required every time, and every year. America, or even other Western countries in the Canada, they were calling the peoples for their requirements. But at this time, migration has overcrowded, and they are scared. Most thing is that they can spread. There is a million miles area in the America which is still vacant. There is crowd only in east zone and in northern zones, just like in California, and also in the New York sides, and some Texas, Dallas side. There is a thick populations. These are the border areas, these are the border states, you can say. And by but other states, they are still vacant. They are having land, vacant land to be cultivated. to be used for some other purposes. And yes, they can go over there, they can go over and they can start cultivating all, just like the Indian peoples, Punjabi Sikh peoples were going to the UP. There's all jungles over there, forest, and they started harvesting over there, they're starting cultivating the lands and making it useful. And ultimately you know that it has been established, and it has been established now, and it is very difficult for even the Indian peoples, the Sikh peoples over there, to live in the in UP areas. Problems are created over there as well. Same thing is happening over here. Same thing is happening in the American areas. So in this way, I can just tell you the situations. And in these situations, why I give this lecture before my health lectures, in at this state of the state and the country as well, not only in the one state, but as a whole, the country is suffering from all these things, mostly the border states, Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico, California state. All these states are suffering from this overcrowded migrations, illegal immigrants. And I declare, at this condition, I declare that if ever anybody needs medicines, suffering from any disease, and is unable to pay high fees for the doctors, I welcome them. Whatever their pocket allows, at least it should cover the cost of the medicines. Not for me. It should cover the cost of the medicines. I welcome them to call me for any disease at any age, or if you are desperate from any treatments for anything. Yes, you can call me at 408 687 1899, so that to the best of my ability and knowledge of medical science I can serve them. And I promise you that I will do my best for their health concerns, and I will not questions about that. Previously, I have already declared that people after 65, they will not be charged the normal fees what we are charging for the other customers. And people under 18s will not be charged the normal fees which we charge for the adult people. But now I'm declaring this thing for all the peoples, to the best of my 52 years of experience in health concerns, medicines, homeopathic, natural, and Ayurvedic medicines. I declare that if ever anybody at any age need my help, he can call me at 408 687 1899, and even they can send me an email for their concerns, and I can answer them an email, and they can take the medicines for that one on a reasonable charges, whatever their pocket allows, so that it should cover the medicinal cost minimum. I'm ready to serve them. So now let us come to the hope for the best for the good days. We have already enjoyed the good days here in America since '96. I'm here, and day by day we progressed. Day by day we work hard and we progress. We added to the community of this America, economy of the America, and yes, it pay us back. At this time, it's our responsibility that whatever we can do for the community over here, we should do, and I'm doing that. Just like the flood areas in Punjab and all that, peoples are serving over there, their local communities. But at this time, I'm sorry to say, I could not help over there. Whatever my maximum I could, it's not recognizable. Whatever I'm helping over, I do not need to explain all those things. That what type of help I'm sending to those people who are suffering directly. I'm not to advertise all those things. No, I am not. But here, at this time, the economy needs me. Here, the suffering peoples from the diseases, sickness, they need me. And that is why I'm trying to use my resources here, uh, as far as my ability and capacity. I'm doing that. That you can send me an email for your concerns, and I can advise you if ever you are in any other countries. Because previously I was having patients from Australia, from England, from Canada, and from New Zealand, from various other countries. People were calling me, but because of this reshuffling everywhere in Australia, in Canada, in England, you see all these newses, and even in America at this time, the same thing is going on. And at that time, my duty is to serve those people, those who are here and suffering a big pressure for the economical side. Yes, I can help them with the medicines. So please call 408 687 1899, and also you can send me an email, homeo medicine, HOMEOMEDICINE at yahoo.com. You can send me anytime your reference about the disease, and I can help you whatever my ability is. So let us come to the today's lecture. We are discussing about the life from life, how the life was created from life, and everything has been detailed, just like in katha, in series. In English you can say the series, in Punjabi or Hindi we say katha. And katha is a systematic, linked chapters, one by one after the other. They are linked to each other and making a big story. And I'm making a story of that life, how this life was created, how this life was developed step by step, what happened, how the Aryans came into Sindhu घाटी, and how they developed life over there, and how they developed, how the Dravids were sent out of this country, and all these things. So in this way, the same thing. I have history in my mind from many centuries back, and the same way the medical health, yes, medical line. Uh, I being a homeopathic doctor and Ayurvedic doctor. Uh, since many years. And as all of you know, since long, that I am the gold medalist doctor from the University of Bihar in 1973. Since then, I was teaching in medical colleges in India. You can say I established homeopathy education in India. The first college was started in Chandigarh. We started it in 35, sector 35 in Vankoti, private Koti. And after that, now this college is running in 26 sector Chandigarh. And after that, Manavagedra Homeopathic College, Lord Mahavir Homeopathic College, and also for even the Abhor Homeopathic College. Most of colleges I have attended as a lecturer, as a professor, as a chief medical officer, and also the most all of the colleges I attended as a superintendent of examinations and all that. I served over there about 26 years in India. And since 96, I'm here in USA and serving the community over here. And here, when I came, it was illegal to name homeopathic, name any other science other than allopathic systems. It was very difficulty at that time. Most of my students were here because I taught 26 years, and most of them came in Canada, America, and various other countries. And they were not able to start practice because homeopathy was not valid here. And ultimately, I started struggling for that. We're fighting with the governments. Yes, I suffered many cases about that one, and I win all those cases. First of all, when the first case was filed against me, against me, I had an attorney at that time because I was not knowing how to go to the court, what to do about that. Yes, I was a teacher. I was a leader in a United Akali Dal, and I was going to the jails, and I suffered going to the courts and all that. But here it was very new thing for me, and I hired an attorney, and ultimately he said, she said, she was a lady. She said, I do not know about this homeopathic science, and but what I can do for you. So I said, I will dictate you everything, whatever questions are asked by the State Board of Medicines here, and they filed a case against me. I can dictate you, and you can send that in your letterhead. So ultimately, he sent those dictations to the state board, and ultimately they withdraw the case. And after that, one after other, I suffered five cases, and then I was going myself in the court directly. I was appearing in the courts myself, and ultimately, I win those cases. And in 2003, in California, the Governor Davis was at that time and the head of the state, Governor Davis, and he, uh, you can say the law was passed SB 577, and I was attached to many of the radio stations, many of the TVs, Punjabi TVs, which were running here in America and Canada, and even the newspapers. I requested the community that you should express your senators so that congressmen, so that they can vote in favor of this law, which is going to be passed, SB 577. And ultimately, that law was passed. And in 2003, January, Governor Davis passed this law, signed that law, and that becomes act that anybody who is graduated, who is qualified from other states, from other countries, with any medical science, and they want to help their community and the community needs them, because we do not have any, just like an allopathic doctor, they do MBBS or they do MD, and they come over there, they pass their MCATs, and they pass their standards over there, and then they start practice over there. There is a different criteria for the allopathic doctors, but there was no criteria for the homeopathic, Ayurvedic, acupuncture, and many other sciences, allied sciences. These are known as allied sciences. And the allied sciences, there was no criteria that they will be adjusted in the American society. And ultimately, I fight for that one, and the Governor Davis approves that law, SB 577, and since 1 January 1st, 2003, this was become a law that any person can practice Ayurvedic, homeopathic, or any allied science depending on their patients. If their patients desire him, then ultimately he can do that. And we are having a signing paper from the community. Whosoever comes to us, we get a paper signed from him that yes, we know about the qualifications of Dr. So and so, we know that what he is doing that, and I need his help for my health concerns. So that's why we were working. And after that, as from a mushroom growth of homeopathic doctor, Ayurvedic doctors come up in different states, and they started practicing. Well, first of all, they were going to the factories, working in the factories and different sectors. But now, because they were qualified doctors from the other countries, and they started their practice. And at that time, there is a big saturation of the homeopathic Ayurvedic doctors in America and also in Canada at that time. The same way, I started this practice here in California. Since then, I'm in California at one section. I have not shifted from here to there. No, I'm in at one place at this time. And since then, I'm practicing, because now I'm old at 76. I'm going to be 76 in January next. So at this time, even then, depending upon my resources, I'm declaring that yes, I want to help the community, and if ever the community needs me, in any case, yes, they can call me. They can call me at 408-687-1899. And whatever knowledge I have at this time about the body, about the health, about the diseases, and about the cure, how can I cure that? Those things, how the diseases appears, how the diseases a person suffers, what are the indications about that, what we can do, what the medical science nowadays is doing about that one. I'm telling everything. Since I'm here, I remember the date, 5th May 1997. I started my first lecture in a radio Geet Sangeet, And ultimate, many other radios are joining me, and they were asking me for their lectures, and I'm giving them free lectures to all those things, so that my community should be educated, well aware about the health and about the body. So now, since many months, I have started this series of lectures about the health. First of all, I was giving lectures just like, if you need information about the diabetes, yes, I will give you. If you need information about the arthritis, yes, I will give you. In this way, the different diseases, just like many doctors come on the different TVs, and they explain about their criteria, their educations, and tell about some different important diseases. But at this time, I'm not doing that one. I'm doing a systematic study, so that every person, whosoever is listening all these lectures, every person should be aware of that this body, how this body was formed, how the life was created, then how the life was developed in the mother's womb, ultimately how it has come up out of mothers, and how he lived out of mother, what were the condition, what were the diseases at that time he has to suffer, and what the medical science is doing for that, and how the medical science is helping growing up this life. And I have divided all these things: newborn, toddlers, adolescence age, young age, and then middle age, then old age. And there are many more various diseases. They are linked to some diseases, some age groups. The same way, whatever group I am describing, I am giving details of the diseases at that time. So what are the diseases mostly people suffer at this age, and what we can do for that, what the medical science is doing at this time about those diseases, just like the diseases of newborn. There were many more diseases of the newborns. I have explained everything, and I give you the details about that one. If ever anybody want to listen those lectures, they can go to my YouTube channels, or they can go my Facebook. They can come and they can send me a request, and they can become friend or Facebook. And but it's for the public. If ever you want to listen, yes, it's for the public. And for about 1 month approximately, my lecture remains in the Facebook. But in YouTube, there are thousands of lectures I have given since many years, and whatever information you need in your own language. Main thing is in your own language, because we were taught in English, we studied in English, and nowadays I'm converting this thing from English to Punjabi. Mostly, I'm covering three languages. Main language I adopted is my Punjabi, and after that I added to that in Hindi, and then the English, because here everybody knows about the English. But even then, to understand easily a medical field, a description of the body formations and description of the diseases and the treatments, they welcome Punjabi language, because they are not well aware of the medical terminology, which is mostly used in medical colleges for the students. I'm using simple language in English, and also in Punjabi, I'm using the general language what we speak in our homes, in our villages, the normal examples, normal explanations I give to them, so that everybody can understand what I'm saying. And they are listening it since many years. So in this criteria series of lectures, we have described, after newborn age of 1 year, we have described the toddler's age, what the parents should do, what the child is doing at this time, what are his activities, how far we can watch our child is developing normally or not, if there be any deficiency, if there be any by birth disease, if there be any acquired disease at that time. Yes, they can learn about that one, and then beforehand, before a child is suffering from any disease, they can they can manage them, and they can avoid those diseases, that your child should not suffer about this one. And here, now our this series of lecture has reached to the adolescence age. Adolescence age is a phase of life when a child is no more toddler. A child is no more adult. A phase in between that criteria that is known as adolescence. And here, yesterday I described that first of all, when the child was born new, everything was done by the parents, especially the mother. He do not know what he needs. He do not know his hunger, his natural cause. He do not know about that one. And everything was taken care of by the mother and the parents and attending people. After that, the adolescence, toddler's age. In the toddler's age, every child was developing, gaining knowledge of all these things about his hunger, about the knowledge of the peoples, of the knowledge of relatives, of the known faces and unknown faces, and he learned how to live within those peoples and how to demand things, what he needs. All these things he was explaining, and parents and the mothers were providing all those things. This toddler's age was the age when parents were a little separate from the child's demands. They were leaving their responsibilities. Okay, now my child knows how to go to school and how to wear the uniforms, how to wear their boots and all those things, and he knows about the colors of the different colors of his shirts and all that. He knows about the body parts, and he knows whatever we are asking him to do, and he is doing that means understand the commands. And the same way, when he go to the school, he understands the commands of the teachers, and he is doing like that one. So this was the difference from the newborn to the toddler's age. And ultimately, when all these things, the routine things he learned in the toddler's age, whatever his routine, he followed that routine and he's doing that routine, and side by side his body was developing in a normal pattern. What we have I have already described about that one. What's the pattern of development of the body, what things are developing within this phase of 1 year to 5 years. And I have told about those things. And if there be any deficiency, you can well aware, you can understand what are the deficiencies, and you can manage that, because this is the beginning of the deficiencies. This is the beginning of the deformities inside the body. These are the beginning of any disease in this body, and it's very easy to control that. And now the medical science is doing all those things. But at this time, our series of lecture has reached to the adolescence age. And that adolescence age is again, I will remind to the parents that now, as you are not taking 100% care of your children, because every responsibility child is taking care of himself. He goes to school, he come to school, he take his homework and everything. He is eating himself. He knows what to need, what to eat, what not to eat. He can ask you, and he can take that one. These were the simple things at that time, and he knows about that. And that is why the parents, especially the mothers, it becomes carefree. Okay, my child knows everything. He is very active. He can ask whatever he needs. But now we are entering into a phase of life where again your child needs your supervision. Your child needs that you should take care of him, because he is entering into a different society. He is entering a different society in the schools, and that's a new society. Everybody accept the changes. It's a human nature that when we see any new things, and we like that, and we follow that. The same way, when the children are going into the schools, they follow. the society over there, and you do not know about that one, what type of society it is. Yes, a mother, a parents, family, yes, they are well wisher of their children, no doubt. They will do whatever is better and good for their children. But here, the society he is entering to is not aware of that one, is not interested at all even that they will do good for your children. No, it is up to your children that you will he will adopt the things or he will not adopt the things which are told by the society. There are many kind of students, many kind of children from the different kind of society, and the parents and the cultures, they are coming into the schools, and all the cultures, perhaps you will not be able to accept that. And ultimately, change is coming up. Most of the things which we were not accepting in our schools in India, we are accepting it here is a normal. Yes, that's okay. But there are some other things that the society will invade in the mind of the children, which is not acceptable. And you have to save your child. Therefore, I'm saying that this toddlers, this adolescence age, again needs your supervision for your children when your child is going, and means after 5 years of age, he has completed five, now he is in six, he is going to school, and from 6 to 10, this is a phase that he grasps very fast. He grasps different things, he grasps bad and good things, but he is unable to decide at that time that what is good and what is bad. Though teachers are there, but even then, children accept many, many things which in our society are not acceptable. And ultimately, here, I have seen in India, everybody knows that we respect the parents, we respect the children's. Our old peoples died at their end in our hands. Okay, this was our culture. But here the culture is totally different, and totally different. Even most of the old people go to the old homes, because their kids are not having daughter or boys or whatever, they do not have any time for them to serve them, to take care of them, because of their responsibilities, jobs and all that. They are busy, so they cannot take care. Their old people's living in the home, so they send them into the home, old home. There are facilities, RCFs, residential care facilities for the elderly. They send them over there. Same way, this is one example I'm giving you. The same way, there are many more other things in the society. In our schools, there was co-educations. There was not co-educations. There was girls' school separate, boys' school separate, and they were taught it separately. Here, there's no difference. Everything. And friendship between male and female, it's a common thing. And that male and female, yes, you can accept the friendship, but you cannot avoid the reaction of their hormones developing inside the body at this age. What the testosterone hormone will do, what the progesterone hormone will do when they start developing in a body, male or female. And this is the time, I warn all the parents, this is the time that you have to again has surveillance, supervise your children and guide them for the proper things, so that your society and your culture be maintained in future. And if you will not take care of that one, that's why we are unaware of all these things. We are unaware of all these things, and that is why our kids, especially the third generation, whosoever comes from India, from China, from other countries, they have their different cultures over there. And When they come over here, become citizen of the country, they have their own kids, and they have their third generations from kids to kids. They do not listen to you. They are mixed up with the local society, and they do not accept your advices at that time. That is why those who are lucky, if their third generation is following the rules of their own society, their own culture, but mostly not. Mostly not. Why? Because we were carefree. Whatever is going on, okay, let it go. We are carefree. And this adolescence age I'm describing here, that there are different changes are going on in male and female body of the kids, and that sometimes becomes out of control of the persons. You like sweets, but you are diabetics, and we have to convince you that not to take sweets because it will hurt you. The same thing, children's at the age of adolescence, they like many things society is doing. Friendship boy to boy, it's not nothing. But friendship boy to girl as a normal culture, as a normal culture, it's not acceptable in our society. But here, when the normal hormones starts developing inside the body, it needs more surveillance. It needs more supervision at that time to guide you. Yes, you are not to ban them. You are not to ban them, but you are to guide them. Here, in many of the schools, education has been given about this phase of age, just like especially at the adolescence age, from the class eighth onward. Most schools are giving this sex education, you can say, to the kids, and advising them about all these things. 'Cause this will happen. This will happen. I know when my younger son go to the school, because most of my kids were grown up in India, and they understand my cultures, and there's no problems to me. But here, my younger son, when he go to school, and at the eighth class, he was given a automatic robotic child, so that if you do this type of mistakes, sexual type of mistakes, and make girlfriends and all that, and you do unavoidable things at this age, then what will happen? She will become pregnant, and ultimately that child, you have to take the responsibilities. And what type of responsibility you have to suffer, you must understand that this is the practical they were giving to him. And ultimately what they were doing, they were giving that robotic child to my son. They give it because this is not only with my child, but they might have given, and it may be a routine in their schools. They were doing all this and at the age of adolescence. He's not grown up children, but to let them understand that what will be the consequences if you fall in love, if you go in sex, and all that at that age, because hormones are developing, natural process is going on. Natural process is going on at the start of puberty. Yesterday my lecture was regarding the start of puberty, during puberty, and after that, maintaining that status, all these things I have told you in my previous lectures. And the same thing is going on in the schools. So what happened, that child, robotic child, was crying after half an hour, after 1 hour, after 2 hour, even during his sleep. And he was given number of that one. After, when your child start crying, then you have to wake up. You cannot sleep. Your child is crying, and you have to take care of him. And ultimately, how many minutes you have to press his button so that has calm down, and ultimately you can go to sleep. And it happens time and again in the sleep times. And ultimately it is their process to teach them that this big difficulty, this big responsibility will fall on you if you do this thing. And even in the schools. They taught safe sex and all these things to the kids, but there are pros and cons. Useful and bad things also happens in this one, in this society. But here I am giving these lectures that these things automatically, naturally develop in your children's body, male or female, and you should be aware of those things, so that that state of hormonal condition developing in a child should not be misused. And even if those hormones at a certain age are not developing, even then it's a problem, because ultimately the purpose of this life is to create life from life. All these numbers, all these things we are doing, labor, we are doing professions, we are engineers, we are doctors, we are farmers, whatever we are doing, these are the helping hand function of a person. But the ultimate main purpose of the life is to create life from life. All these functions, what you do as a doctor, as an engineer, as a whatever, remains here. You survive by your children's. When you die, your children are surviving here, and your DNA is surviving. Your DNA is going generation to generation, and you are surviving. That's your responsibility to make this chain. This chain should not break. So what happened? To me, it looks like that our main responsibility is to create life from life. And yes, to create life from life, uh, other businesses, whatever we are doing at this time, they are the allied, they are the assistants, they are the necessary things to provide to the life, so that life can run. You can earn, you can go for job, becomes doctor. All these things are to support the life. They are not the main function of the of this human beings. Purpose is to create life from life. But before a certain age, if all these things happens, I mentioned this thing in previous lecture, that's known as pre-puberty. If this thing happened in your children's, you must be aware of that one. And if it is not happening in your children's at up to certain age, just like I told you, the menstruation in a girl should happen from 10 to 13 years of age, normal. But if it does not happen even after the 13 years of age, you should take care of that one. What's the deficiency in my child? Because ultimately purpose of the life is to create life. The same thing for the kids, for the male children's, and their testosterone hormone will work, and they will produce a different kind of a physique, mustaches, beards, and not only this one, the pubic hairs, the axillary hairs, the change of voice, and production of the spermatozoas, semen, all that. If all these things are not happening, we don't care. We don't care in society. But if we don't care, what happens with my children, what is going on, by of shame or some society cultures, all these things, we do not ask about these things. And ultimately, what happens when that child get married, and after many years he is not having any other creation of life, we are worried about that. Oh, 1 year has passed, my child was married, girl or boy, whatever, they are not having any issue, problem. Then we go to the doctors. But if you know beforehand all these things, that this is the special time that this thing should start. Monsoon, you know that the monsoon will come at this phase, and we will start bowing chona, ziri, rice. And if it has not come, everything will stop. Everything will be delayed. The same thing, hormones productions progesterone, estrogen in the females, testosterone in the males should come up at a normal time so that we can understand that my child is developing in a normal phase, and ultimately it will become a good young man or a young woman. And if we are unaware and there are some blockages, some deficiencies, monsoon has not coming up in the normal times, you know well what will happen. In this way, so I described yesterday about the pre-puberty syndromes. Pre-puberty syndromes. Sometimes all these conditions happens before age. And you might have listened, there are many more news that in the free societies, children become parents at the very early age, which we do not suppose, which we do not think that they will become parents at this age, they become, because the pre-puberty syndrome, naturally a natural factor, it was going on in her body or in his body, and ultimately they joined. We could not take care of that one. That's why I'm saying that this is the age when parents should be again supervise their child, whether it's a girl, whether it's a boy. Yes, for the medical purposes, I told you how the girls' breasts are developing. Maybe one breast small, one the other breast will be larger. What will happen to the shape of the females? The fat deposition in the face, fat deposition in the chest, fat deposition in the hips. All these things happen. Whereas on the contrary, at this adolescence age, the fat is burned out. Musculatures are developing, and it looks like the shape as if it's more height, more thin body, whereas in the girls it looks like fatty bodies. So all these changes out, even with the open eyes you can see that developing inside your children's. But the internal things, I told you that at the age of 10 to 13, girls should menstruate. At 10 to 12 age, a child should have a seminal analysis. And but we see it's not necessary that he should discharge. No, it's not necessary, because whenever anything happen, it shows sign and symptoms on the body. And I'm telling here, those sign and symptoms show that you should be aware of that. There are axillary hairs, moss stitches, beards in males, and hairs on the genital organs. And also, when the testosterone hormone is in production, then the voice of the children change. And age is from 10 to 13. It may be early, it may be late, but this is the normal period, that at the age of 12 or 13, children have a different voice, hard, not soft voice. Whereas the girls are having the same voice, soft voice. And with the development of the shape of the body, I have already told you. So all these things we have to notice that with this thing, all these things by nature's phenomena may happen early, may happen late, but when it is early, that's also a problem. May have late, that's also a problem. That you should be aware of that one, that my child should have all these features in a normal course and in normal. So at the peak of this one, I will next go to this one, that what type of mental development. This is the physical development. This is the internal hormonal development. I told you about the menstruations, about all these things. I will describe what the menstruation is. I will describe you what how the production of ovum happens in the female life, or how the testosterone produces the spermatozoas and the testes. All these things I will describe you set time by time. And these things, when start happening inside the body, what are the outer side change you can see, everybody can see. Everybody can see that these are the changes occurring in my child's body. It means he's everything is normal, and he will be ultimately capable of producing life from life. This is the main purpose of the life. In this way, everything, even the life of a child, from mental to physical. I described everything physical, and at a mental level, many more changes happens in the life of the girls and also in the boys at this adolescence age, and we must be aware of that. I will tell you in my next lecture that what are those changes which occurs in the name of, you can, cognitive changes, you can say, or the social and emotional changes, you can say. Behavior type means what changes, even their sleep pattern changes, even their conversation style changes, even their reaction to, first of all, you are asking something, your child was listening, but now at this age it's not necessary that whatever you say your child, he will obey that one and he will follow that one, and no, it's because of the hormones, conversations, thinking, critical thinking, logical thinking. He will be able to convince you by his knowledge he attained, he acquired from the school and from the society, and you are now have a responsibility to watch that what type of logic my child is giving to me, what he learns from the schools, from the other society, because society may be good or society may be bad, and he's having impression of the society in the schools, and then you have to guide him if you see some changes, and you should be capable, sufficient capable, so that you can guide your child at that time, so that he should not be influenced by the society, which is not acceptable in our culture, when he goes to school at the adolescence age, at the age of 12, 10 to 13 years of age. So this is what most of the changes, because changes starts after 6, that I have already described in my previous lectures. But the most thing, when the parents should be attentive, taking care of their children again, they were taking care of when he was not newborn, but now ultimately you are just carefree at the age of toddlers. But now, at the adolescence age, he needs again your supervision so that you can guide him. So, today's lecture is over. Tomorrow, I will tell you what type of mental faculties are developed. That will be in Hindi. Maybe first part will be in Punjabi, and then after that in Hindi. What type of mental faculties are developing at the adolescence age, when a child is developing and internal changes are occurring inside his body because of the hormones production, because of the separate hormone production in the male and females. What type of changes you will see, and what type of critical thinking you will find in your children's, and you have the responsibility to guide that one. So today's lecture is over. I am your host, Gurdeep Singh Sandhu, homeopathic consultant. And again, I would repeat that because of the society, American society, American economy, I am declaring that anyone whosoever needs medicine help, he can call me 408-687-1899, so that I can be helpful to him for his disease. Because there are many more big charges of the medical line, but I declare that whatever their pocket allows, at least that should cover the medicinal charges. I'm ready to help them. God bless you all. My phone number again is 408-687-1899, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next lecture, that what type of mental changes occurs in the child's life at the adolescence age. Thank you.